Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we present the 2020 Inclusive Community Development Awards, highlighting excellence in disability inclusive community development. Next slide. My name is Michael Rush, and I'm the Director of the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development at the National Disability Institute. Before we get to the main part of the announcements today, we do need to go over some housekeeping tips. Next slide, please. Listening to the webinar, the audio for today's meeting can be accessed using computer audio or by calling in by phone. If you select computer audio, please make sure your speakers are turned on or your headphones are plugged in. If you do not have sound capabilities on your computer or prefer to listen by phone, you can dial 1-929-205-6099 and enter the meeting code 898-1058-4376. Next slide, please. Captioning. Real-time captioning is provided during this webinar. The captions can be found by clicking on the CC button in your Zoom controls at the bottom of the screen. If you do not see the captions, after clicking the button, please alert the host via the chat box. You may also view captions in your browser at street.net/EVENT=NDI. Next slide, please. Submitting questions. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A box to submit any questions you have during the webinar, and we will direct them accordingly. If your question is not answered during the webinar or are listening by phone and not logged in, you may email them to my colleague Hope Price at hprice@ndi-inc.org. If you experience any technical difficulties during this webinar, please use the chat box to send a message to the NDI host or email Hope Price at hprice@ndi-inc.org. Please note this webinar is being recorded and the materials will be placed on the National Disability Institute website at nationaldisabilityinstitute.org/resources/webinars/CDICD-webinars. Great. So for those of you who are new to the National Disability Institute and the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development, before we make the announcements, we would like to share some brief information about us with you. National Disability Institute is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to building a better economic future for people with disabilities. National Disability Institute is the first national organization committed exclusively to championing economic empowerment, financial education, asset development, and financial stability for all persons with disabilities. At the National Disability Institute, we affect change through public education, policy development, training, technical assistance, and innovative initiatives. To learn more about the National Disability Institute, please visit us at www.nationaldisabilityinstitute.org. Next slide. Next thing, thank you. So, regarding the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development, the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development just celebrated our first year, 1-year anniversary, is managed by the National Disability Institute and is working to build the awareness that people with disabilities are a part of all communities, and the needs of the disability community need to be a part of community development activities. To learn more about the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development, please go to nationaldisabilityinstitute.org and click on Disability Inclusive Community Development. Next slide. So now, what we have been waiting for is the announcement of the Inclusive Community Development Awards for 2020. We created the awards program to highlight excellence in disability inclusive community development through collaborative activities between community organizations and financial institutions that support low and moderate income individuals with disabilities to improve their financial stability, but also to improve their health. As we celebrate the 30th, please go back to the previous slide. Great, thank you. As we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act this year, it is important that we celebrate the proper goals identified in the Americans with Disabilities Act of economic self-sufficiency for people with disabilities. The Inclusive Community Development Awards brings additional light on how organizations and financial institutions are making that proper goal a reality. Each of our winners that you'll learn about today have created unique initiatives that support people with disabilities in low and moderate income communities. All of our winners demonstrated innovation, impact, and inclusiveness that contributed not only to the vibrancy of their communities, but created economic and employment opportunities for people with disabilities as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're excited to present to you the 2020 Inclusive Community Development Awardees. To make our first announcement, I would like to invite Janet Hamer, who's the chair of the board of directors at the National Disability Institute and is the principal at Hamer Consulting. Janet, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Michael. It is my distinct honor to be able to announce the first awardees, and hope if you could go to the next slide, please. So the first awardees are an outstanding example of inclusive community development that builds employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities. We all know how critically important that is because persons with disabilities are disproportionately under and unemployed. So our first awardee is the Paraquad Job Training Center, which is funded by Regions Foundation, a nonprofit initiative of Regions Bank. They offer multiple tracks for individuals with diverse needs and goals to progress from pre-employment services to employment placement. Specifically funding supported the culinary training program offered through Bloom Cafe and an exciting new initiative, the computer training program featuring a new partnership with the St. Louis nonprofit Launch Code. These two workforce programs strengthen Paraquad's pre-employment services, providing people with disabilities the skills to seek and succeed in employment. And we are so pleased to see this partnership between a major financial institution and nonprofits serving the disability community. Hope, can we go to the next slide, please? So here to accept the award, I will read their names and titles in the order that they will share remarks. The first person is Marta Self, who is head of corporate philanthropy and executive director of the Regions Foundation for Regions Bank. The second speaker will be Amy Waymeyer, who's president of Paraquad. And the third speaker is Kevin Kickman, who is director of institutional giving for Launch Code. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate this partnership. It's an outstanding example and a best practice for all the financial institutions. Next slide, please, Hope. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Actually, could you go back to the, yeah. So Marta, we'll turn it over to you for your remarks. Thank you, Marta.
Sure. Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marta Self, the Executive Director of the Regions Foundation, a nonprofit initiative of Regions Bank. And I have the longest title in this slide, so y'all can be looking at my long title there. That's kind of funny. On behalf of the bank's 20,000 team members, I wanted to share with y'all that we are incredibly honored to be recognized with our fellow Inclusive Community Development Award recipients today. Inclusive community development is the only way to achieve community development. We're only as strong as our weakest links. And to strengthen each other, we need to work together. At Regions, we believe in the power of partnership. We believe that community partnerships are the driver that makes things possible in the cities and towns where we live and work. Back in 2011, Kathy Lovell, Regions Disability Services and Outreach Manager, made an outreach visit to Paraquad in St. Louis to learn more about the impactful work that they did. She learned not only about the wonderful work that they do to serve people with disabilities, but also the support that they provide to their partners at home and at work. It was important work that Regions needed to support. In the years since that visit in 2011, our Paraquad partnership has grown significantly. Kathy now serves on the Paraquad Board of Directors. Our St. Louis associates volunteer there, and we've supported Paraquad's Shine the Light Awards. And then the team at Paraquad also generously share their resources and expertise with us in the spirit of true partnership. They provide us valuable feedback on accessibility to ensure that Regions branches are not just ADA compliant, but ADA friendly and welcoming. Then last year, Kathy introduced Paraquad to the foundation. And in January, our Paraquad partnership extended to a new level through a grant of the Regions Foundation. We decided not only to support Paraquad, but to encourage a new partnership between Paraquad and LaunchCode. In addition to supporting Paraquad's Bloom Cafe culinary training program, the foundation made an investment to support a new workforce development program with a coding training collaboration between Paraquad and LaunchCode. Data published by the U.S. Census Bureau indicates that people with disabilities are employed at half the rate of people without disabilities. They're also twice as likely to live in poverty. At Regions, we're committed to help to reduce the disparities that people with disabilities experience. So we are focused on creating greater access for everyone. This program with Paraquad and LaunchCode is an avenue of access to new skills and new opportunities. Paraquad empowered LaunchCode to serve a new group that they had not intentionally targeted before. This computer training empowers people with disabilities to learn valuable new skills. It offers an opportunity for people with disabilities to contribute back to their community and encourages them to thrive in all aspects of their lives. As we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the signing of the ADA, we know that there is still great work to be done to empower people with disabilities to enjoy their full vocational potential. And we know that Paraquad will continue to be the catalyst in advancing this important work. And now, with this partnership with LaunchCode, it opens new opportunities. And we at Regions Bank and the Regions Foundation, we look forward to working alongside with them, lending our support to this partnership. So again, thank you, Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development. Thank you to the National Disability Institute for the important work that you do to make our communities more vibrant places. And thank you for this award. And now I'd like to turn it over to Amy.
Thank you, Marta, and thank you for the partnership. My name is Amy Waymeyer, and I'm president of Paraquad, a center for independent living in St. Louis, Missouri. This is a monumental year for Paraquad as we celebrate our 50th anniversary, and as Marta mentioned, the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Recognition as an Inclusive Community Development Award winner embodies the mission of our center and the ADA. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2019, Only 19.3% of people with disabilities were employed compared to 66.3% of people without a disability. That statistic is down 7.3% from the previous year, and we are moving in the wrong direction. However, our partnership with Regions Bank and Launch Code is one innovative way we are moving in the right direction by increasing equity and opportunity for people with disabilities by offering free tech education and job readiness training to people with disabilities in a supportive environment. We believe this investment will result in high-paying jobs that help people move the needle on economic independence for people with disabilities. And as Marta mentioned, I also want to highlight the impact of the relationship with our partners. Regions is our partner in banking, but more importantly, Regions is a partner in our mission of independence and to people with disabilities in St. Louis. Regions associates serve on our board, build ramps in the community, teach our associates and our participants about financial health. They support our events, they mentor, and most importantly, they reserve a place at the table for us to be involved in leadership conversations around equity and inclusion. We are grateful for the partnership and for the recognition. And I also want to recognize our friends at Launch Code, who share a mission of creating pathways to equitable access. We have been in conversations with Launch Code since their CEO, Jeff Mazur, came on board. We shared a mutual interest in providing training opportunities to people with disabilities, but we struggled with the pathway. Regions provided that pathway, and we are now doing more together than we could have been ever done separately. And we are now looking at expanding the program going forward. We are so proud of the collaborations with the Regions and Launch Code and for the recognition for supporting individuals with disabilities improve their financial stability and health. Thank you for this award. It is a true honor. And I would like to pass it to Kevin Kickham.
Thank you, Amy. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here today. I want to start off by just giving a huge shout out to our amazing partners at Paraquad, including Amy, and then also the Regions Foundation and Regions Bank and Marta. This has been an amazing initiative for Launch Code to be a part of, and we're so grateful. So for anybody who is not aware, I want to give a little background on Launch Code. We're a nonprofit organization in St. Louis, Missouri. And what we do is we provide free tech training programs offered part-time. And then we help place graduates of those training programs into apprenticeships with companies. So typically, the apprentice will start learning the tech stack of a company. And if the company is happy with their progress, they'll hire them on full-time. We typically see that more than 4 out of 5 of these apprentices are hired on into full-time roles, and these are with starting salaries of $55,000 plus. So, and definitely lots of opportunity for career advancement. So obviously, these roles are very great and desired, but not everybody has always had access. And that's because there are a lot of barriers to the education required to get into these roles. The main thing being money. It's hard to get into computer science programs if you can't afford it and then pursue that career afterwards. Another barrier is there is a huge lack of diversity currently in the tech workforce. While that's changing and many companies are doing great work, we are continuing to look for more diversity that encourages folks of all backgrounds and experiences to apply to be part of this important workforce sector. And we know companies are hiring like mad in this area. They are hiring so many different tech roles right now. And in our experience, we've seen that these hiring partners are ready to hire folks with unique perspectives and different backgrounds than what they might typically be seeing coming out of traditional computer science programs. And that's what we're all about. When you look at our classrooms, we want to focus on all different types of people. That's mothers re-entering the workforce, low-income individuals, folks without degrees, and what we're here to talk about today, folks with disabilities. As Marta said before, Launch Code has definitely always embraced and accepted students with disabilities, but previously we did not have additional supports for these students beyond the support that we provide to all of our other students in our classes. Now, with the support of Regions and partnership with Paraquad, we were able to hire an amazing teaching assistant, Dominique. Shout out to Dominique. She not only works with the students with disabilities while they are in the virtual classes right now, but also spends one-on-one time with them, extra coaching time, and has an extra class outside of the main Launch Code class each week with them. These are additional supports that have been huge in seeing progress. We saw the majority of students enroll in the first cohort graduate, and we now have many students who are continuing that tech education, these students with disabilities, through this partnership. So we are so grateful. Not only are we supporting these individuals and helping them pave pathways towards careers with family sustaining wages, but we are also changing the way that companies are looking at hiring folks with disabilities and realizing the unique assets that they will bring to their team. So once again, I just want to say thank you to Regions Bank and Regions Foundation for making this possible, to Paraquad for teaching us so much and helping us learn how we can better support our students with disabilities, and to the National Disability Institute for this honor. We are so grateful. Thank you so much. Great.
Thank you all so much for sharing more about your programs and your collaboration, and a prime example of amazing work that can take place and also serve as an example for future programs as well. So congratulations to Regions Bank, Regions Foundation, Paraquad, and Launch Code. So we move on to our next award announcement. I would like to introduce Michael Morris. Next slide, please, Hope. Or Katie, okay, great. I'd like to make our next announcement for our next Inclusive Community Development Award. I'd like to introduce Michael Morris, who is the founder and Senior Strategic Advisor at the National Disability Institute. Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Michael. And this is a wonderful afternoon, learning about really outstanding programs that have brought together unique partnerships and built really what we think are replicable models for inclusive community development. Next slide, please. So I want to be able to share with those of you across the country our second award winner for excellence in disability inclusive community development. The award winner is the Houston, Texas Financial Inclusion Working Group. Next slide, please. So this really is a wonderful story of collaboration. Many groups got together, but what was particularly so positive about the work that's being done and continues to be done in Houston is that it really is an example of collaborative efforts within a community of diverse organizations to build a better financial future for people with disabilities. I'm pleased to present the Inclusive Community Development Award to the Houston Financial Inclusion Working Group and JP Morgan Chase, who are working to improve financial stability of low and moderate income people with disabilities through actively engaging clients in mainstream financial products and services, promoting financial education to ensure accessibility and inclusion, and help people with disabilities overcome credit barriers through financial resource fairs, webinars and workshops, and one-on-one financial coaching through its partnering agencies. I am so pleased to extend this award to the work group, and we have two representatives of the work group who are going to share some comments with us. To accept this award are Carmen Phillips, co-chair of the Houston Financial Inclusion Working Group, and Yvette Ruiz, Vice President for Community Engagement, JP Morgan Chase. Carmen, will you start us off, and then we'll hand it off to Yvette.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, Michael and Michael. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Michael, for this incredible recognition. Speaking from Easter Seals, Greater Houston, and myself, we're so honored to receive this award on behalf of our Houston Financial Inclusion Working Group. As co-chair of our committee, I was absolutely elated when I received the news. This is quite an honor to receive national recognition like this from NDI. So a huge thank you to the panel of judges who found our nomination worthy of such an award. And you know, the thing about a collaboration like ours here in Houston is that, yes, it's a huge undertaking and there's a lot of moving parts, but the payoff is huge too, in terms of what we're able to accomplish together for people with disabilities within our community. You have key players here coming from different backgrounds and different financial institutions, offering invaluable insight and resources that we just wouldn't have if we're trying to go it alone. We've got nonprofit agencies with their feet on the ground. They're in the field on a daily basis, working with our low to moderate income families and people with disabilities. And they really have their finger on the pulse of the very community that we're all trying to better serve. So what better players to have in a collaboration like this? So, and Michael, I think you have a slide there of some of our active community partners. So thank you for sharing that.
Hope, next slide, please. Sorry, I was sent an item. There we go. There you go.
There they are. There they are. There's so many of them. And I tell you what, Michael, we were doing remote before remote was even cool. So pre-COVID, all of these partners were meeting once a month via conference call, and that's how we planned our big event in February. So back in February, we had our Financial Inclusion Resource Fair, and it was completely orchestrated via telephone. So like I said, a lot of moving parts. Not an easy feat, but we were able to pull off the Financial Inclusion Resource Fair at the end of February, right on the heels of COVID-19, right in the middle of a Houston boil advisory, but it was still a huge success. We had the Texas State Comptroller's Office there. They drove down 4 hours from Austin, Texas to introduce clients to the Texas Able account. We had banks there like First Convenience and Chase. They were there to open new checking and savings accounts on site. They were showing people how to check their credit scores right there for the very first time from people's smart devices. We had Disability Rights Texas there, financial coaches from Easter Seals, Greater Houston, Goodwill Houston, Houston Area Urban League, signing people up for one-on-one financial coaching, homebuyer education, workforce development programs. We had a huge turnout of agencies and banks and clients, and we are just so pleased with the results of that fair. But just to summarize, Michael, this collaboration, it's been key. Our partners have been dedicated for the past 2 years, turning up to every remote meeting, attending all the calls, just going above and beyond, especially for that in-person financial inclusion fair. We just have so many partners giving it their all, and I just couldn't ask to be part of a better group. And ultimately, Michael, our hope is that this award sheds light on not only the work we're doing here in little old Houston, Texas, but sheds light on what community partnerships can be doing across the country for people with disabilities in their own backyard. So once again, to NDI and the CDICD, thank you so much for the work you guys are doing and for this national recognition. We just couldn't be more pleased. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. Let me turn it over to Yvette for some remarks.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you all this afternoon. I think Carmen said it just so well. The strength of this partnership is directly reflective of the collaborative relationships that we have in our working group. If you take a look at this slide of collaborative partners, you see more than just one financial institution, and that's why we're so strong. Everyone understands that there's a role to play here and that this is not necessarily a space that we need to be competitive in from a financial institution perspective, but collaborative and leverage each other's strengths. I I would be remiss if I didn't call out the work of my colleague Dora Cantu. I know that she has been working directly with these partners and with Carmen and others to ensure this collaborative success. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here with us today, so I'm a poor stand-in. But again, I think this is such an honor to receive on behalf of the working group, and we are not done yet. There's much more work to be done. So this is a nice achievement, a good moment in time to celebrate the good work and knowing that there's more good work to do around the corner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. When I look at this slide and the diversity of organizations, diversity of the community in Houston that has come together and, as you said, will continue to meet. And I appreciate too that this isn't just an initiative of big banks. Banks of different sizes have been participating. And what a great model, a replicable model, particularly as Carmen, you described the financial resource fair, which when you think of fairs, you think of people just, collecting materials and learning, but this was really an opportunity for people to open accounts, to learn about their credit ratings, just so much more. And it really is a wonderful opportunity for the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development to make this award to all of you in Houston, because this is what's possible. You've shown it's possible. And I believe and hope that other communities across the country will look at this, be in touch with you, and figure out, gosh, we can do this as well. So thank you both, and thank you for all the other groups, community groups and financial institutions that have made this collaboration so strong. Michael, I'll turn it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Carmen, and thank you, Yvette, for sharing great information here. So next slide, folks. Like back up. Thank you. Great. So I'm pleased to announce the final 2020 Inclusive Community Development Award for this year. Next slide. This year, the last award is going to Iowa Able Foundation and Easter Seals, Iowa, who are eliminating barriers for individuals with disabilities to provide financial assistance for the purchase of assistive technology by linking affordable and flexible loan products with personalized financial empowerment plans to help Iowans with disabilities. This collaboration is creating new opportunities for individuals who lack the financial resources or credit scores to qualify for loans needed for assistive technology to be able to thrive within their community. As the information shared by Iowa Able and Easter Seals, Iowa, as we met to discuss their application and get additional information, what was powerful was also seeing the power of the collaboration, and that the work that they're doing, not only through assistive technology, but is helping individuals throughout the state of Iowa, particularly in those rural communities as well, doing innovative opportunities to see that individuals have access to assistive technology and other supports to really be able to thrive within their community, as well as within their personal life, as well as their life of work. So we're really excited for our final awardee for the Inclusive Community Development Award for 2020, Iowa Able Foundation and Easter Seals. Next slide, please. To accept this award, on behalf of Iowa Able and Easter Seals, we have Anna Magnuson, the Executive Director at Iowa Able, as well as Tracy Kenninger, who's the Rural Solutions and Assistive Technology Program Director at Easter Seals. Congratulations, and Anna, I'll turn it over to you to share more information on the work that you all are doing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. So I want to thank the Center for Disability Inclusion Development and the National Disability Institute for the work that you do building a better financial future for people with disabilities and their families. Thank you for creating this first annual Inclusive Community Development Awards, and a heartfelt thank you to the organizers of this award and event, and congratulations to all of the award winners. We are truly honored to be included in this first class of award recipients. So on your NDI website, it states at on your homepage that we're only as strong as our partnerships, and this is certainly the case for our organization, the Iowa ABLE Foundation, and the reason why we were so excited and honored to have the opportunity to nominate our partner, Easter Seals Iowa, for not only how they make a difference with their programs and services, but also for how their team has helped our organization make really important strategic changes to improve how we serve Iowans with disabilities and their families. Easter Seals Iowa had an important role in providing the feedback needed from individuals with disabilities, their families and caregivers, and our community partners that resulted in our improving and enhancing our programs to make it possible to provide a sliding scale interest rate and forgivable loan so that we can truly empower individuals with disabilities to achieve and maintain independence. The relationship between Easter Seals Iowa and the Iowa ABLE Foundation is one based on the fundamental belief that we are working together to transform the lives of people with disabilities, and a trust in our intentions as we figure out how to best fulfill our vision and mission statements. I am so pleased and honored to congratulate Easter Seals Iowa for being one of the first recipients of the Inclusive Community Development Awards. Tracy Kinniger serves as a Rural Solutions and Assistive Technology Program Director for Easter Seals, as you stated, and is someone I greatly admire and respect for who she is both on and off the job. So again, on behalf of the Iowa ABLE Foundation, I thank Easter Seals Iowa and for being such a fantastic partner. So I'll turn it over to Tracy to learn more about Easter Seals Iowa.
Thank you so much, Anna, and thanks to you, Michael, and your team. We are truly humbled on behalf of the Iowans that we support collectively with Iowa ABLE to receive this award. You know, oftentimes assistive technology can be the catalyst to empower a person with a disability to be employed, to live at home independently, to complete a task. But an enormous barrier for accessing assistive technology is funding. While Easter Seals may be the expert in helping individuals with disabilities to determine what is the appropriate assistive technology, we certainly are not the experts in how do you fund it, how do you obtain a credit score, or any of those financial details. Thus, our role and collaboration with Iowa ABLE is critical for enriching the lives of Iowans with disabilities. What does this really look like for Iowans? It looks like the farmer from Northwest Iowa who is able to obtain a tractor lift to raise up into the cab of his tractor after the traumatic injury of a vehicle accident. It means the person in the underserved rural areas of Iowa who have access to little to no internet, to have opportunities to connect with Anna and her team to figure out a way that they too may be afforded the opportunity to access an iPad, access a hotspot to be connected. For countless Iowans without funding that is provided through Iowa ABLE, they go without. There can be countless pieces of assistive technology that the amazing team at Easter Seals suggest to a person with a disability, but without access to the funding support, it clearly is not possible. We just could not be more thankful and appreciative for what Anna and her team have done to move the target in the state of Iowa to make these loans possible for people with disabilities, and often the unforgotten population of farm family members with disabilities and those residing in our rural areas. We are so thankful to you, Michael, and your team for raising this issue in this country and the importance of employment, living, learning, working, and playing in our communities of people with disabilities. And with that, my heartfelt thanks to you, Anna, and to you, Michael, and your team.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Tracy, for sharing this information. And congratulations to all of the awardees for your amazing work that you are doing to build a better financial future for people with disabilities and really building the awareness that inclusive community development is possible. We do have some questions that have come in, so we would like to put those forth to our awardees. If they're, as long as we have time, we'll ask the different questions. So if you have any specific questions, you can put them in the Q&A box, and then we will ask them as well. So one of the first questions that have come in, and Marta, if I could address this to you, is what advice do you have for others, others from a financial institution, in creating collaborations and partnerships with disability organizations? And I think what the additional comment they had is, what is that approach to be able to make those connections and why?
Sure, that's an excellent question, and I wish we had several stories of success to tell you. But I'll say we are all starting in this journey, right? I think the most important thing when we're talking about a certain population that has different needs, number one is to look at the organizations that serve that population's needs. So in this case, you start off with an organization that serves people with disabilities. So with Paraquad, with Iowa Able, I think all of those organizations that know so well how you can serve because they have been working and listening to the people, they are the starting point. And then the other side is where you come in as a donor or you know, any community partner and know what the community needs. So we know that we need people to fill in tech jobs. So that's when you make that connection. So one is know the population you're trying to serve and how you can serve them best and who does that best. And then know what the community needs and find that intersection. So I think those are the two ingredients that are important for this recipe.
Excellent. Thank you, Marta. Thank you for sharing that. Great points for organizations to be able to look at. The next question we have that came in is looking at the engagement of partners. And so, Carmen, I think, and to Yvette, since, you know, one of the key pieces of the Houston Financial Inclusion Working Group is really that collaboration. And so what advice do you have for others who are wanting to implement a similar strategy, have to get organizations to be excited about it and to continue engagement after activities? So Carmen or Yvette?
Yeah.
Turn that to you. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, Michael, you know, with collaboration, you know, Houston's a big city and we are spread all across the city. I'm here in Montgomery County. I'm probably 2 hours away from some of the participants. And like I said, we've been working remotely this whole time. And collaborations like this, it makes your city become a much smaller place. And just bringing all these different, you know, players in and get to know each other. And, you know, you have resources right at your fingertips. So, you know, I really think just kind of start where you are and make a list in your community. I think Marta kind of said it best earlier. Start with institutions that work with people with disabilities. You know, I've been lucky. I kind of walked in or came in a little late to the game. You know, you guys, we had already had a organization of different players from the beginning when we had our first summit in Houston. So I came a little bit late in the game, but everybody has stayed active and remained engaged. And I just think we all really share a common goal. And I'm so pleased. I'm pleased every meeting when I just have a huge turnout every month. And I know these people are very busy people. They've got plenty of other webinars and Zoom meetings and clients to work with, but you know, they make time for this, and that means a lot. So.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Carmen. Perfect. Before I go into the other questions that have come in, Michael or Janet, do you have any specific questions that you would like to ask to the awardees?
No, I'm fine, Michael.
Okay, perfect. We'll keep going on with the others that have come in. So one of the questions that has come in, and I think we'll direct this to each of you in the last few minutes that we have here. And the question was asking about what were the aha moments in which you and or your program or your organization had that key realization for this project and creating the project or the collaboration. So what were those aha moments? And we'll go to each of you to be able to share some thoughts. So Amy, would you like to share some of the aha moments that Paraquad had as you were putting this partnership together and the project together?
Sure. I think the biggest aha to me is sort of what I mentioned during my chat is that you know, there was a willingness for both organizations, Launch Code and Paraquad, like a willingness and a interest in working together, but not having a clear pathway. And so I think the aha moment for us, and I love what Marta said about thinking about what does the community need, you know, so it's not just about the organization. So of course, people with disabilities need employment opportunities, but where are the holes and where are the gaps, and identifying those gaps. And so IT is such a perfect career opportunity for many people with disabilities. There's a lot more flexibility and a lot more ability for people with all types of disabilities to be successful in that field. And so I think the aha for us was recognizing the needs and then trying to find ways to fill those needs and provide great opportunities for people with disabilities in the process.
Great, thank you, Amy. Kevin, same question to you.
Yeah, totally. And I hate to echo the same thing over and over, but I do jump back to collaboration because I think, you know, at Launch Code with our free training programs, we've definitely tried different efforts to engage with various different communities in the past. But I think our aha was we just had to realize, hey, you know, there's a limit to what we can do as an organization. And when we reach that limit, we can go out because there's so many great nonprofits in the St. Louis region who are doing very great work. I think that was our aha, is realizing, hey, we don't have to do this all ourselves. This collaboration, reaching out to Paraquad, they have so much expertise in this area, and our team has been learning so much from them. I think that's kind of a mantra we've been working under, is just because we're learning our limits doesn't mean we have to limit the outcomes that we can achieve together. So yeah, we are just excited with this community partnership that's been made possible. And it just makes us, I guess, our aha is realizing that we're, you know, excited to see even more of those partnerships develop in the future.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I think that's one of the key pieces of what you know, sharing, looking at different communities, you know, that organizations serve, and oftentimes, you know, some organizations say, share, oh, I don't serve people with disabilities, but really, in knowing the statistics of the disability community, we know that all do. And so I think it's great how you recognized how to really make your program more inclusive to serve all as you go out to serve a wide variety of communities and not just the disability community. So that's great. That's great. All right, so we're coming up on our time, but I just want to go back to Anna and Tracy. If you could also share for others as they might be looking at creating these financial services, financial resources to be able to help individuals with assistive technology. What were some of the aha moments or that key aha moment in looking at the realization for this project, but also as you went on to look at the aha of the success of the project?
Would you like me to start, Tracy?
Sure, go ahead, Anna.
Well, I think the aha moment for me, I started in 2018, which wasn't long ago. I met Tracy in that first month. And on the office wall, she had a quilt that was given to her by one of the families, rural families that she served. And in that aha moment, I realized it's not about me, it's not about Tracy, it's about those that we serve. And I knew from talking to Tracy from the second that I talked to her that her passion was about making a difference for Iowans. And so that was what led us to really ask, it's question and answer time, and to be able to trust, to be able to ask the hard questions and get those answers to the point where I told Tracy in the beginning, I hated answering the phone because I was like, I can't help you. I don't either have the money or we don't have an affordable loan for you. And now the answer is at this time, thanks to the partnership, is I don't dread answering the phone. It's because of this partnership I can call or pick up the phone and say, we can help you. And let me refer you to Easter Seals for their lending library if that's an option. And that is the greatest feeling. And so that's thanks to, I get a little emotional because that is thanks to that partnership of being really able to ask those really hard questions. Tracy, what do you think?
I would definitely agree with you, Anna, and it is finding a partner who deeply, deeply cares. These are not typically easy solutions, and it doesn't typically happen in the way that countless other persons who are able-bodied access funding. So it takes a partner like Anna and her team who care enough to not accept a roadblock as a no, but let's just keep trying until we figure out a different way. Because we know, as has been stated, that individuals with disabilities have a much lower income than the majority of the other population. So it is a requirement that someone cares and is willing to be creative to find solutions. And clearly, as you can see, Easter Seals Iowa found our champion in Iowa Able.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for sharing this additional insight, and thank you to the audience for sending in your questions. As we come to an end, I think one of the key takeaways that we've learned today from the awardees is that building relationships and building those partnerships have the same passion, the same idea, is possible, and it's what really works well in building inclusive community development. When we're all in this together, and as Tracy mentioned about when there are roadblocks, collectively as a partnership, how do we overcome those to help individuals with disabilities and their families work towards and achieve financial stability? I want to say thank you so much to Regions Bank and congratulate each of you, Regions Bank, Regions Foundation, Paraquad, Launch Code, the Houston Financial Inclusion Working Group, JP Morgan Chase, Iowa Able Foundation, and Easter Seals Iowa for being the first class of the Inclusive Community Development Awards, and for continuing to build on the proper goal of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And as we celebrate the 30th anniversary on that proper goal, including economic self-sufficiency, the work that each of you are doing is definitely celebrating that goal of the ADA. We want to thank everyone for participating on this webinar today. Hope if you could go to the next slide. To learn more about the Center for Disability Inclusive Community Development, please visit our website at nationaldisabilityinstitute.org. And if you have any questions on disability inclusive community development, or if you would like more information on the Inclusive Community Development awardees, please send an email to ask@ndi-inc.org. But also check out the Disability Inclusive Community Development webpage, where it has the stories of each of the awardees, where you can learn even more information. In the coming months, you'll see some spotlights and some additional details highlighting their amazing work. Again, congratulations to all of the winners for this year's Inclusive Community Development Award. And finally, I'd like to say thank you so much to the National Disability Institute team for helping to put the inaugural awards together. So with that, I hope everybody has a great day, and thank you for joining us.